and I would want you guys to help me understand this. So continuous and discrete, two types of quantitative variables we have. Continuous variable is what? A continuous variable is basically a variable that can take any value between a minimum and maximum range, any value. When I say any value means what? A continuous variable is a numerical variable, right? Because quantitative variable are all numerical variables. It's quantitative is basically the parent umbrella, and within quantitative we have both of these, continuous and discrete. What could be the difference between continuous and discrete variables? Anyone wants to take a shot? Continuous is basically which can take any value. When I say any value, what do I mean? I mean that your age could be any value between 0 to 60. It could be, right? It can take any value. Like your age could be 13 also, 13.1 also, 13.12 also, 13.13 also. Can it be age? Based on how many days has it gone since your birthday, you can calculate exactly what your age is, and it could be any value between 0 to 60 or 0 to whatever, 100 or whatever, right? But if I ask you, how many friends do you have? Can it take any value? Let's say there's no restriction on how many friends you can have, but still, can it take any value you want? What value it cannot take? Decimals it cannot take, right? Perfect. So negative also it cannot take. That's again true, Mansi. So those kinds of variables which cannot take negative values, decimal values, which are basically going to be discrete number, right? Discrete integer numbers. Those variables are called discrete variables, and variables which can take any numerical value are going to be called continuous variables. There's an example here as well. It's talking about firefighters and giving an example that if the guidance is that the firefighter should weigh between 150 and 250 pounds, then the weight could be anything between 150 and 250, right? But if you're trying to flip a coin and count the number of heads, you know that number of head could be any value between 0 to infinity, but it cannot be negative, and also it cannot be decimal, right? There can't be -4 heads, or there cannot be 2.5 heads. It is either going to be 2 heads or 3 heads. There can't be 2.5 heads. Let's move forward. So you understand what a continuous variable is, what a discrete variable is, and you know that both of these are quantitative variables, numerical variable types, right? Now let's come to the qualitative variable types. And why I'm talking about all of these variable types? Because at the end of the day, using statistics, you're going to do what? You're going to work with data. Now you need to understand what are the building blocks of data. So for any data, the building blocks are what? Variables, right? Attributes that you're going to store the information in. So those two variable types, you can store some information in. And then you have qualitative or categorical variables. The name itself suggests categorical variables because it represents the category of a particular measure. Now, categorical variable again has 3 types. Qualitative variables have 3 types: binary, ordinal, and nominal. Binary, I think everyone knows, a 0, 1, true, false, yes, no variable, right? Binary is basically just 2 outcomes possible. So it's a categorical variables with just 2 categories: yes or no, or true or false, or 0 or 1. Something like that. If I say that whether a person will marry or not, what kind of variable will this be? All right. Now guys, tell me the grades that you used to get in the college, right? A, B, C, D, E, and F would be fail, right? Those grades, what kind of variable would that be? And now tell me guys that if I tell you about a variable which has genders, right? Let's say gender is male, female, or none. Or none is basically don't know, right? This variable, this gender variable, which has 3 options, male, female, or don't know. What kind of variable will this be? I think it's very much visible here, right, on the screen, that an ordinal variable is going to have an order, right? So you know that the grade A is better than B, B is better than C, C is better than D. Ordinal variable is still a category. It's still not a number, right? Grade is grade. It's not number. It's still representing category. But that category those categories have some order. That's why the grades were called ordinal variables. But whereas when I talk about male, female, and don't know gender, these three types of genders, there's no order in these genders, right? There's no order. So they are not ordinal variables. These are just nominal variables. So guys, qualitative are binary, ordinal, and nominal.